Hey guys, I am Game Advisor and welcome to a new video series we're starting called Should You Play It? Where all we're going to do is talk about the games and kind of just give you a more opinionated first look at our experiences with it. These will be for free to play game titles, so there's not going to be any rating at the end because at the end of the day, it's not really going to cost you guys any money, so we just want to give you our opinions on whether or not it's even worth your time to give it a chance and try it out. With that being said though, in this episode, we will be playing Super People. Super People, for those of you who don't know, is going to be a PUBG style battle royale. And when I say PUBG style, I mean PUBG style. This game is extremely similar to PUBG. I'm going to try not to relate it too much to that for those of you who have not played PUBG, but if you have, just know that the combat and the base gameplay is almost perfectly identical. I mean, down to the T, to the point where I think they could even get copyrighted for it, but again, I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me on that. In Super People, you can play with up to 3 friends. The way this works is you're going to join up in a lobby and then go ahead and start queuing for your match. You'll have the option to queue as well for third person or first person perspective, and you can queue as duo or solo, with each one of these having their own rank. That means if you're queuing first person perspective solo or third person perspective solo, you're going to have 2 different rankings for both of those categories. Same as well for duo and quads for that, which means you're going to have 6 total different ranking categories. The core gameplay here is going to be just your standard battle royale. You're going to spawn in and you're going to drop down within a large zone. The interesting thing with the zone here is that it allows you to play a portion of the same map that is randomly selected. This means it's kind of like 10 maps in one, because you could get a circle anywhere on the map to start and then you have to base it off of that. Before you actually get to that drop-in, however, you're going to be given a randomly selected class. This random class can have a wide variety of skills and perks available to them, so much so that I can't go into all of them, and I'm just going to tell you about a few of my favorites. One of those being the Nuclear. The Nuclear class can literally drop a tactical nuke once they unlock their ultimate at level 10. That is when everybody's going to unlock it. When you drop that tactical nuke, it's going to give your enemies roughly about 5 seconds to get out of a very large radius, otherwise they just die. It is theoretically able to be lived through if you have enough health, armor, and the right perks, but otherwise it is basically an insta-kill. This also goes through walls and has a very long cooldown when compared to the other ultimates in the game because it is just so strong. Another class I personally really enjoyed was the Teleporter. The Teleporter gives you the ability to teleport to anywhere within a certain radius as long as you have your ultimate off cooldown, which is about 2 minutes long. This can be used to cross rivers or jump behind your enemy when they're not expecting it and just mow them down without them even knowing you're there by the time they turn around. Another one I personally really enjoyed was the Marine, who gets some side perks that give him extra swim speed, but can also make a giant white smoke cloud in order to prevent enemies from seeing him, and he gets extra vision while in it. There's also the Gas Soldier, who basically gets a really low cooldown flamethrower, I think it's like 45 seconds, that can shoot a big flame puff through walls and does a ton of damage. I think it's about 100 to 150 after it does all of its burn damage ticks as well. This is great for getting early damage on a fight before you can even see your enemy, allowing you to have a significantly higher chance of winning. In total, I believe there's something like 10 or 12 classes in the game, and at the end of the day, they're all unique, they're all pretty interesting. Some are high mobility, some give you a giant jump. One of them even summons a monster truck, so at the end of the day, they're all fun, they're all cool, but I definitely think that there is some balance issues with them. Just for an example on this balance thing, let's say you could choose between a guy that gets a giant smoke grenade on a 60-second cooldown, or you could choose between a guy that gets a tactical nuke on a 3-minute cooldown that instantly kills people within like a ginormous radius in 5 seconds. I'm going with the nuke, just gonna be honest. So because of this, the game will actually let you try to change your class at the start. You can do this with tickets or with gold once your tickets are gone. Basically, the game's gonna give you some tickets as you level up and as you start the game. These tickets will allow you to change your class for free and do revivals and a few other things that would normally cost you gold. After that, it's gonna cost you gold to do all of those. This means if you wanna get revived after you're full dead in an actual squad game, you're gonna have to spend gold for that. You want to pick up your special loadout? Gonna cost gold for that. You want to switch your class at the start of a game? Gonna cost gold for that. Now don't fear, as you're still going to get a lot of gold per game, maybe not enough to do all of those things every game, but you should be getting a minimum of about 200 to 300 even if you die like right away after dropping in. There's also a whole out-of-game crafting system, which I'm not going to go into, as basically it just has to do with you getting a preloadout that spawns in the map randomly and you can run over there and get it, but it costs gold to open and it guarantees you a specific weapon, a little extra damage with that type. I'm just not going to get into that because it's a little too in-depth for this video, but I do want to talk about the crafting system and the level up system within the game. To actually level up and get all those abilities we talked about, you're going to either need to get a kill, which will give you 1 level, and you're going to get some passive buffs with that, as well as some on-use effects as you get them. They're kind of randomly selected, so you don't really get to choose which ones you want in the order you're going to get them in. You'll also gain a level every so often that you're still alive, meaning that if you make it to like top 10, you're basically guaranteed to get to level 10 and have your ultimate. But keep in mind, you can go all the way up, I believe it's to level 27 in this game, so level 10's not that good by endgame, so they discourage camping by doing that, which is something I really actually enjoy. I hated in PUBG when everybody would just hide in a house because they don't want to lose their rank. In this game, if you do that, you're going to have a pretty big disadvantage by the time you hit endgame. And part of the way they help with that is through their in-game crafting system. This is pretty straightforward. Some little boxes are going to show up on your screen, and it'll look like a white, green, blue, purple, or some other color kind of square. You're going to run over there, you'll pick up an item, and it'll prompt you and say, hey, you have all the crafting materials you need now. Go ahead and upgrade this thing. So you could upgrade your armor from tier 3 to 4, or 1 to 2, or even 4 to 5, which is the highest armor can get to. Same for your backpack, same for your helmet. You can do all this with your guns as well up to level 5. And I haven't really explained this, but at the end of the day, the rarities are just straight up better versions of those guns and those armor pieces, just like you have in PUBG with your regular armor, but now it's also applied to guns. The guns have 7 tiers of rarity, going all the way from tier 1, which is kind of just like your base low damage weapon, which you're going to upgrade all the way to probably at least tier 4 by the time you reach endgame. And armor goes up to tier 5, which really isn't that hard to get, as I feel like I got my chest piece or my helmet up to tier 5 pretty quickly and consistently. I'd say about 50% of the time I actually got there with one of those pieces, and 25% of the time I got both of them to tier 5. So it's not that hard to get, but it does have a huge impact on fights. If you shoot somebody with a tier 5 chest plate, they're going to get a bigger reduction in damage taken than somebody with a tier 4, enough to the point to where it is going to decide fights at times. So loot is very important, but skill is also important too, as you're going to have skills and those abilities to help offset that difference. Now, something else I want to mention is that this game had a pretty predatory cash shop when it came out. There wasn't any pay to win in it, it was just pay for cosmetics, and cosmetics can also change the look of your abilities, but I don't consider that pay to win personally, especially not in a free-to-play game. So at the end of the day, the cash shop was super predatory. It was costing people like $100 to unlock 1 piece of tier out of a 4-piece tier set, at least to unlock it permanently, as you could unlock them like temporary. It was a weird system. It was not good. Nobody liked it. So the day after the game came out, the devs said, hey, look, we get it. It's predatory. We're just going to remove the pay for cash shop, so you can't even spend money on the cash shop right now, and just replace it with gold. They've also stated they'll be implementing a flat out just pay X amount of money to unlock this skin system instead of the kind of random temporary, non-temporary system they had before, so it's more clear cut for people. I love this, but I don't know if this is just them virtue signaling or if this is actually genuinely good devs that are like, hey, we realized that our monetization was not right, it was not fair to our players, and we wanted to fix it. For all I know, it seems like there could be a good chance that they intentionally set up the cash shop like this because they had to have tested it beforehand. It wasn't complex enough to where they couldn't figure it out. I mean, they're the developers, for Pete's sake, and realized that, hey, nobody's going to want to spend $100 on 1 helmet skin. That's just dumb. But with all that being said, the game really wasn't that bad. I would actually say if you guys want to give it a try, go ahead and try it out. If you like PUBG, if you like Battle Royales, it's at least worth giving it a chance. I think it's personally a little bit better than PUBG, and I know that's going to be a controversial statement, but that is just my personal opinion. Feel free to let me know what you guys thought about the game in the comments down below. Otherwise, I want to give a big shout out to all of our channel members, which include Caustic FPV, Jonathan S, and Jim Phillips. Thank you all for supporting our channel and just watching this video. Feel free to like and subscribe if you guys like this type of video, as it's our first time doing one of these. Otherwise, I'm Game Advisor, and I'll see you next time.